down this turret so he can come right back in.
That's not enough Marines for Bunny. He's going to lose all of his Marines and his SCVs. He needs to bring more back. And look at this. What we're seeing from TY here is finding the angle where Bunny's siege tanks cannot protect his Marines, and he's picking off waves of Marines every time. Every single time, consistently. Already so many SCVs going down back here, too.
Yeah, he's just the multitasking of TY is fantastic. Strategically, he's fantastic. A great spread of siege tanks here. Bunny, like, can't even engage. He can't even do anything.
This is not looking good. I think this is actually just going to be the last nail in the coffin here. Look at the siege tank support on the low ground. These tanks aren't even sieged up there at the front. He's losing them for free. These medevacs are going to escape.
Yeah, a few siege tanks do get cleaned up there for TY, but truly still controlling this game. In the meantime, he does have his 4th base up, despite the fact that Bunny made his way before. He doesn't even have any SCVs he can send there.
Oh, a big stem and run in here. I think it's his last attempt here. Good pickups by TY to disengage.
He's like, oh, is there too much coming? Okay, I'll get out with all the siege tanks because that's the unit that matters.
He's only 13 supply up in Army, but his economy is going to allow him to reproduce, so this is going to get worse very quickly for Bunny. Bunny is so desperate to engage, and this is not the way to do it. +3 just finished for TY.
Wow. Wow. TY is just on another level right now. This is crazy.
That's like, you know, you see things in a new game or a new expansion. This is like somewhat reminiscent of watching old pros and Brood War like figure out new things no one had ever seen before, because you've not seen someone really use siege tanks in medevacs like that before. Basically, because you can, the siege tank will almost instantaneously fire when you drop it. There's an arc of siege tanks with Bunny protecting his Marines, but the Marines clump up. There's such a large army that they're eventually going to be not safe.
Yeah.
So you can drop the tanks just in the radius. It requires a good amount of micro and also a good amount of knowledge of the siege tank radius. You know, you have to really know where those tanks can hit. But if you drop them in the right zone, you kill 5 Marines, 10 Marines, and you get away with your tanks.
It's pretty crazy, and TY is like really showing off some of the potential of what TVT can look like in the future. Imagine if TY played against TY there, how crazy that would look.
Oh, that would have been insane.
That would just be like
people need to make. They would have to make Vikings
over and over. Yeah, I mean, I don't even know what that turns into really. It's like just Vikings and tanks and medevacs. It's like that's so weird. But
this is okay. We see the coach of CJ. The new coach is actually stepping in, taking over Coach Park's role now, and he's talking to Bunny here. And I gotta say, if you're Bunny here, maybe this is the time you do try to go Proxy Reaper. Maybe this is the game you try something different, because momentum-wise, and regular just Marine tank, TY is dominating.
He really is. And the thing is, he's doing more macro builds. Like, well, I mean, he played safe that time, but he went for the macro. He went for double engineering bay. There was like a lot of different things that he was doing where Bunny should have had slight edges, and it just never materialized.
Yeah, and he played very defensively the entire time, from the Cyclone to the Raven, the double E-bays, the extra turret he made. And one thing that TY is doing both games is making an excess of sensor towers just for safety. He will not get caught by any Doom drops, and he uses a small amount of units for high value. 2 siege tanks versus 5 siege tanks in the pack of Marines, and he still finds damage.
Yeah, non-stop damage. It's kind of crazy. Like, I mean, he was just macroing with hotkeys there, you could tell, because he was always looking at that, always microing it, getting so much sick, insane value. So I am like so excited about TY in Legacy of the Void.
Well, guys, let's see if Bunny can bring it back, or if TY is just going to outclass him and take a 3-0 lead to go directly to the preseason finals.
Right. An amazing Terran player, maybe the best in Legacy of the Void, is TY.
So strong right now.
Yeah.
Last game was a real treat.
Mm-hmm.
And his opponent on the other side of the map, in red, it's Bunny. Looking great in the TVZ matchup, but having a tough time so far in TVT here versus TY. It's TVTY for him right now.
Ooh, yeah, I like it.
He looks a bit down, to be honest, as well.
Yeah, he looks a little bit like a little bit mopey right now.
Looks a bit
sad.
shaken, you know.
Yeah. Looks like a little bit of a grumpy butt, as I would say to my child.
Those guys both have a much larger beard than myself.
Actually, I think you're right in between those two. You have a pretty bushy beard.
Yeah,
today.
I guess I'm like about, maybe somewhere in there. I'm not as much as the bigger bearded of the two.
How many deers have you skinned lately, Wolf?
None.
None?
Actually, yeah,
With a
0.
beard like that, none?
Actually, no.
Really?
Because everyone
No
always
way.
stereotypes people with beards. No deers, no
Huh.
elk either. No moose or anything like that.
What is the last forest animal that you carved out of a piece of wood while sitting on your porch with a beard like
probably
that?
would have been a wooden wolf. When I was like a
there
little
you go.
kid learning wood carving, like in
And you
summer
had this
classes.
beard back then?
No,
Oh, okay.
no, not even a peach fuzz back then.
That's-
Sorry to burst
That's
your
about what
bubble.
I can get is the peach fuzz. That's about it.
It's funny you and Valdez have that. Me and Tasis, we got,
Yeah,
we got
no,
the
it
big
is.
beards.
Me and Valdez can't grow a beard to save our life. You put a gun in my head and tell me to grow a beard, you're going to have to pull the trigger, friend.
I would never do that to your Artosis.
Yeah, thank you, because that would be unreasonable.
You could just call Merkmate and have him Photoshop it for
Yeah.
you, but
He prefers me with mustaches. He's very particular about his casters.
he is. Well, this positions on Ruins of Ceres is a huge map, but these positions we are going to have a little bit more aggressive play. I would say probably out of TY with more tank harass. Like I say, tank harass not versus the SCVs, not versus the mineral lines, not versus the buildings, but versus the army.
Yeah. And that's, you know what? I love the way that you've worded this, and I want to talk about it a lot. So let's hope that nothing happens here. Reapers, go home. I want to talk about this. Harassing the army, right? Because Legacy of the Void is so much about harass. Don't worry, the command centers are going to die, guys. Legacy of the Void is so much about harassment, and we have all these new harassment tools, but that's very true. There is now a possibility, at least with siege tanks in Medevacs, to harass an army.
Yeah.
And it's something, I'm trying to think now of other places that we see this, where there's a light harassment on an army. You see it with Blink Stalkers.
Yeah. We see it with Hellions sometimes.
Yeah, you can see it with Hellions, that's right. You can see a Hellion, early game at least, poking Zerglings. It's generally that's not the choice that's made, but yeah. But this is like a very new thing where it's like, okay, even in the late game, I could see this being a fruitful endeavor.
Yeah.
So,
And this is not only with just siege tanks and medevacs. This could be done with disruptors.
Yes.
This is already being done in the mid game with like Reaper openings versus Lings and Creep Tumors. It's really cool. Legacy of the Void is, with the top
Yeah.
pros in Korea, really, there's so many different unit comps you can build that can harass. Adepts as well can harass army units as well, because they can just cancel their shade after they pick off
Sure.
some units.
But you're quite right about the Reapers. Like, Reaper against, oh, well, actually, these two.
Speaking of Reapers.
Yeah, but we'll talk more about that later. But anyways, there is a little bit of a drop coming out.
Oh, that Widow Mine's going to get so much
Ooh.
value. Luckily, there's a medevac nearby, or it could have actually followed up with some more. The Reapers do go down during that as well.
Okay, and it looks like right now Bunny does have a bit of an SCV lead and has a good amount of little siege tanks here. We'll see if TY can get some more harassment done.
It looks like he will, unless that siege tank gets set up, because this is a huge Marine lead here. TY's finesse with medevac control has really impressed me in this series so far. Didn't even eat a single siege tank shot there. And he's not just going to walk home either. He's like, well, let me kill a few Marines and get the depot. I'm going to make every little thing count here. You see, he's like, you thought you could just send a siege tank?
Are you going to kill this siege tank? Oh my god,
This
he doesn't lose a Marine.
This is too much. He killed another SCV, and he's just going to fly away home. And I'm not talking about that weird old movie with the geese flying. He's going away. And he's got a follow-up push that he can set up to attack with at the front while all the units are being pushed in the main by a drop of 4 Marines.
Oh my god, and TY just won't stop with it either. And is he going to get the medevac? Yeah, he got the medevac. Okay. Okay,
He better
TY.
set up the front, though. Should be able to kill this Widow Mine.
Nope.
At least, okay.
Okay, well, cost him a scan. That's all right. But yeah, that was pretty crazy there by TY. Is it time to harass with that siege tank? I think it might be.
Okay, let's see how well Bunny deals with this time. He's going to hit 2 Marines there. He brought a Viking, which is important, but he's going to get focused down.
Wow, look at that. He uses his Marines to help focus down his opponent's Viking and picks him up right before the siege tanks can hit. And now he's the one poking into these medevacs. I guess he does lose that Viking there, and this might be a little bit too much. He's going to have to pick up one of these siege tanks, I believe.
Well, this is just a better trade for TY, but he will want to leave now, yes.
Yeah. Leave those Marines, pick up the siege tank, get out with the value. But wow, some really great moves here by TY.
Well, this game is unique in that TY finally used a bit more aggressive of a gas opener to do tech because he doesn't have the second eBay this time. His stim is a little bit behind. He does have combat shields on the way at the same time, though. It's something that Bunny does not have with only a solo tech club currently.
But yeah, he's not even getting his third base to kind of stay in line with what you're saying here. So that's where Bunny wants to get ahead, is by taking his third base quite a bit quicker, which means TY has to continue to be in here and do damage. And look at that siege tank drop. Not harassing army right now, going after good old economy there, causing a lot of lost mining time, killing an SCV or two.
Now he also scouted that drop coming, so these Marines are going to try to intercept here. It looks like, and it's tough to really catch a medevac full of siege tanks. Almost never going to happen. He's going to use the boost to scout here, which does hurt the amount of damage I feel he can get done with this.
Yeah, maybe a little bit scared. If there's something like a Viking there, you're going to have to hightail it out. Maybe he was afraid of something like that. But, I mean, build time on the starport is actually quite at a premium in TBT, so it's not just so easy as make a Viking.
Yeah. Well, already this is defended. He's just going to have to leave. At least he saves both units there. Kills a few SCVs.
That was pretty good. That was some pretty good siege tank harassment there by Bunny. Definitely got to hand it to him for that. Does add a second engineering bay as well. Now, we do have the third command center about halfway done for TY now, but definitely a lot later. And he's still sitting on just the one engineering bay. So he will end up being behind in upgrades after that +1 armor finishes for Bunny.
Yeah, that's true, and that becomes so important. All right, a big set of drops coming up here. I think he's going to go for basically a Doom drop. Oh, the Watchtower's taken at the best possible moment for TY. He sees all of this, and now he needs to set up a defense.
Yeah, he's got to be very careful about this. A little bit scary, but actually, he's just going to go ahead and drop his siege tanks. Look at this, chasing that siege tank down himself.
Okay, this could end up being like a base trade. Bunny's actually going to decide to come home, and I'm not sure if that's going to be the right choice.
Yeah, well, he should be able to break through this, I would say, but a lot of damage being dealt by TY. If he can save those siege tanks, looks like he only saved one for the time being. Midevac's being picked off right now, picking up his Marines as well and boosting out. How does he get out of here, though?
Oh, that's a good question. He's going to have to take the southern route. He's got a few medevacs to maybe draw some forces away to the third base as he tries to escape.
Yeah. Oh, God. Bunny is just completely out of position here. Look at this. Marines stimming, running up this ramp right now. And, in fact, Marines hitting the third base at the same time. TY all over the place. Even rallied units coming in as well.
Oh, man. These medevacs on move command or, attack command here not going the right way. This eBay is going to get focused down. The CC might get focused down as well. And TY's multitasking is by far outclassing what we're seeing here from Bunny so far. He's trying to get that orbital. I don't think he will, but he's going to get these siege tanks maybe.
Look at this. He's trying to target another medevac, and he doesn't quite get it. The medevac does drop out the siege tank, does some more damage, but he picks up those Marines and gets out. 28 SCVs killed. TY landing his third command center during all of this and continuing to drop in the main.
He's going to get the second eBay now, it looks like, or at least that's his target. Going to get a depot first. The third CC is still alive, but it's not mining. Looks like this is finally going to be pushed away, but the second wave of units is coming across the map is the scary one, because this group of units could actually kind of just cut this these units in half and stop him from taking a third while TY continues to get further ahead in economy.
Yeah, let's see about that. Now, he's got to be careful. If he loses too much, that's a lot of siege tanks for Bunny, so that could become an issue. All right, he does pick up and run out of here. But in the meantime, I believe is he doing another drop with the medevac? Yeah, it's going into the back of the main base of Bunny right now. I was wondering if he was going to do that.
Now, one of the things that I'm glad the observers finally highlighted this, because one of the things I'm really concerned about for TY here is the siege tank count is quite low. It's 3 to 8. And he doesn't have a lot of siege tanks. Most of the siege tanks he's been using to harass have actually died eventually through harass. Not that they didn't pay for themselves, but in a big engagement, he will be outclassed, and we're going to start to see that a little bit here.
Yeah, this is a very scary incoming push. TY is actually counterattacking towards this third base, and he's a lot closer, so I think Bunny's going to turn around again. TY really keeping control of this game.
He's got the better Marine count, even though they don't have the better upgrades, and he's just totally avoiding conflict because he knows he's behind in tanks.
This is so beautiful. Look at this. And after killing that, he scans, sees that Bunny isn't turned around, turns around himself. He's coming in now. Will he do a flank? Will he try to drop on top of this? I'm not sure. That's a lot of Marines, so I think you have to just do a big flank.
It has to be a flank, and I think he's going to look for the opportune moment while they're in the medevacs. Yeah, there's the scan. He sees that moment. He's going to step forward here.
The siege tanks are not dropped. They do finally end up coming out. SCV's pulling down as well. A huge flank of Marines coming in, and everything gets cleaned up. Oh my God, TY is the Zerg bone drop.
Oh my God, Artos, he scanned.
He's so
he saw
good.
the moment. That was his moment. He was like, are they in the medevacs? Are they not? If they're in the medevacs, we go right now. I'm going for both sides. He got SCVs. He's got Marines that are down in upgrades, but that was the one fight he needed to take. Until that one moment, he knew he didn't have the tank count to win, so he had to harass. He had to pull Bunny apart.
Yeah.
And he built up a Marine count that was enough to flank. He was like, I'll never be able to catch up in tanks. I'll never catch up in tanks unless I kill them. The only way to kill him is to overwhelm him. Marines had to pick him apart, surround him, and kill him. That was an incredible game.
Amazing play by TY. Making Bunny look less like Thumper and more like Bambi's mom in that game. Like, I am so impressed with the way that this guy is playing in every single match in Legacy of the Void right now. He had a great DreamHack. He did. He did very well at DreamHack. Made that final day. I believe he was the deepest Terran in it. But he has really come into his own at this point, okay? Like, he is playing out of his mind, beating Zergs, Protosses, and Terrans with some of the crispest, most awesome play that we've seen.
Some of the stuff that we saw from TY with those medevacs, even microing Marines versus siege tanks, gave me the impression he even understands like the animation stuff.
Yeah.
He's like canceling animations with his medevacs. He's like doing things no one else really is right now.
Yeah, he's playing some tank footsies in there, okay? He's farming when he needs to on the Marines. You take anything from any sort that you got, and TY is doing it in this Legacy of the Void game. Pretty insane play.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's like Code S level in my mind. If he doesn't get the spot, I'm sure he'll get it in Code A. But
yeah, it would be a travesty if he did not, because there is no doubt in my mind he's one of the very best Legacy of the Void players in the world right now. That is, like, his first Zerg was amazing, his first Protoss was amazing, and here his first Terran is, and oh my God, he just slammed Bunny, who's been playing fantastically as well.
Absolutely. Well, guys, before we go into that final match to decide the Code S player, we're going to find out which Protoss player is going to face TY in our next best of 5, and we'll see you guys in just a few.
Cross with lies, please just let me go. You strung me on for far too long, so I gave up everything about myself, so I didn't feel alone. My magnetic heart still grasping on, afraid to let you go. My feelings based on your expressions, expressed in the way that it's sort of depressing. I was just my pain, I'm entertaining my oppressions. Some days I wonder what it'd be like if the light in your face never glowed. But I'd rather live in dark just to know I would rather rock than explode. These bombs are exploding inside my head, but I've never been more alive. These shadows of the dark just tried around with a little less pride. I'm damned for the spirits and I've set them aside. Now I'm walking alone with no alibi. This life I live is all my own. Can't take that back if you try. Follow me through the darkness, down deep, give me your kiss. Come on baby, I won't let you down. Take my hand, don't ask why, I can't wait forever. Put your hand on my heart, swear to me when you say I might lie. When I look into your eyes, I could love you till forever. When I look into your eyes, tell me why. When I look into your eyes, I could love you till forever. When I look into your eyes, I don't know why I love you when I don't even know you. Trust in me, I'll do the best I can. Take my hand, don't ask why, I can't wait forever. Put your hand on my heart, swear to me when you say I might lie. When I look into your eyes, I could love you till forever. When I look into your eyes, tell me why. When I look into your eyes, I could love you till forever. When I look into your eyes.
The void beckons.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the GPL, the Global Passion Craft League. This is just out of control. TY is on fire. He's so good. It's ridiculous. If you missed that, you're just tuning in now. You better hope time travel's invented so you can experience that for the first time with the rest of us.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
It was incredible, and this means that TUI has had a flawless run to the finals, not dropping a single map. And going into this next matchup, it's going to be a Protoss versus Protoss, and we all know how those camera sudden appearances do work.
That's always fun.
You know, I want to give Deer the edge here, even though I feel like MyuNgSIK could take it. I feel like this one is definitely going to go to at least game 4. This is not going to be a 3-0.
No, that would be pretty impossible, I would say.
It's just PvP. Like, these players are of very similar skill, and also the matchup is like not perfectly figured out yet. Like, it's not like that TV2 watch where everyone's kind of doing the same thing. It's just that TY is doing it way better. And I think PvP has a lot more mind games that go into it. And there's also a certain element of chance in PvP that still exists in Legacy.
Yeah, I mean, based on what you choose as your build order, before you can even scout your opponent, definitely you can have like a slight edge or non-edge, reversive edge deficit. I don't know. You can be slightly behind if you choose the wrong thing where your opponent has a slight edge.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can be a scabbard to their sword or something like that. I don't know.
It's like the have and have-nots. You have the edge or you don't have it, I guess.
And that can occur, but, you know, most positions are playable in PvP, I'm pretty sure. Like, we don't know every build that there's going to be regularly, but, like, for instance, if you go Blink or you go Stargate, both are playable positions that you can win from. But, yeah, so you think Deer is going to take this one then?
Yeah, I just have a feeling, man, and I can't explain it because MyuNgSIK's already shown us great PvP versus Zest.
Yeah.
And historically speaking, at the end of Part of the Swarm, I liked MyuNgSIK's PvP better than Deer's. I felt like it was one of Deer's weakest matchups.
Yeah, I would go with you on this.
And I have to say in Pro League as well, when one of Deer's worst times was actually during the period of Protoss dominance because his PvP was one of his weaker matchups. I feel like Deer's on a higher level than MyuNgSIK overall, but sometimes Deer gets in a bad, like, his mentality is not in the right place, and he seems to be, just seeing him in the makeup room earlier today, he seems like he's in a really good mood.
Yeah, that's true. He really seemed quite cheery and quite happy. So, I guess we'll see how this goes for him. I'm actually leaning towards MyuNgSIK just because, well, he did beat Zest, but I didn't think, like the Void Ray Immortal game, like that one, I have tried it on ladder. It's quite strong. You can definitely pick up some ladder wins with that one, but I feel like that's something that Deer can look at and know how to beat it. So if MyuNgSIK like relies on the strategies he already showed against Zest, I'm not sure that he's gonna pick it up. But I feel like overall I've been more impressed with his play than Deer's so far.
Sure. I was really impressed with Deer's PBT yesterday versus Joxy. I have not caught up with the games with him versus Rogue just yet. We're playing two totally different matchups on his way here now, finally ending up in PvP. So he's definitely had MyuNgSIK's games to study, whereas MyuNgSIK has not had his games to look at.
Yeah, definitely something to keep in mind there.
And that's really important in a new expansion where you can throw out a build no one's seen before, like that Void Ray kind of build.
Yeah.
And it's totally new, no one's ever seen it before. In the early parts of the expansion, I think seeing someone's build, being able to study someone's best of 3 is so much more important than it was like a few months ago in Heart of Swarm.
Completely agree with you on that. And I think especially with a player like MyuNgSIK who always plays his own style. So let's take a look at this map pool. It's not like a big deal because, again, it's a mirror matchup. This will be a much more interesting thing to talk about for the next match, which will be a TDP. But, yeah, I mean, there you have it.
Yeah,
2 4-player maps last. I'm not surprised about that.
Yeah, that's usually how it goes for PvP because, again, in PvP, when you choose a build, sometimes you can get ahead or behind based on chance on the 4-player maps. It's the hardest to scout.
Yeah.
You get unlucky with that.
If they scout you first and you scout them last, there's a distinct advantage in PvP.
There's, like, advantages for positions for Stargate builds, but you don't know if you're going to have that advantage by the time your Oracle's on the way. That's when you find out where they are, stuff like that.
Exactly. So, yeah, I guess this is where we just sit and see. What are these guys going to go for? I'm very interested to see the styles. I still need new PvP builds.
Yeah, I think once this first game ends, we'll have a much better idea of where these two PvP skills are relative to each other.
I think you're right about that.
I don't think it's going to be as one-sided, though, as what we saw in that TVT. I just cannot imagine that.
Yeah. Actually, I have something else I want to add, but I'll wait until after we get this one started, because it looks like the game has loaded up. It's going to be MyuNgSIK against Deer in PvP. Whoa!
All right, down here in the bottom right in blue is MyuNgSIK. Still on
TCM.
TCM, that's right. I was pretty sure that was the acronym, but. And up to the top right in red is opponent Deer, still on Samsung.
Yes, and that's actually what I wanted to talk about here. Because, like, okay, so the ladder is like the most important thing to practice in Korea. Like everyone does play the ladder a lot and gets a lot of practice out of it, but having a pro team is very important. And being on TCM, he doesn't have the same advantages that Deer has. Deer has, for instance, Stork, who, by the way, is extremely good at StarCraft 2, has been a pro gamer forever, as a coach, as well as other Prodosses on his team that are professionals that, like, literally live with him, talk with him, practice with him all the time. Whereas MyuNgSIK, I don't know where he lives, but probably by himself.
Yeah.
Practicing on the ladder all day, which, I mean, for MyuNgSIK's style, that works a little bit better, but still, I think that gives Deer a little bit of an additional edge against him.
I have to agree. It looks like Deer is going to be doing a Adept into Stargate build here. He's got 2 gates into the core, and he's also got a proxy Stargate location set up, so he's probably going to start that Stargate first.
Yeah, this is like the most popular one-base build for sure. You know, just going for 2-gate Adept into proxy Oracle.
Oh, it's a proxy robotics.
Ooh.
He's just going to drop them, it looks like.
He might get an Immortal out of this.
You think so?
This is definitely a possibility. Like
one Immortal into Warp Prism, you think maybe?
Yeah, something like that. Or he could put a gateway there to skip the Warp Prism if he wants a 3rd gate so he can warp in quicker, but then he has to walk all the way. But I like the Warp Prism a little bit more, but I've seen some people trying stuff like this. But this scout right here that we're not seeing because we're looking at this sign, MyuNgSIK
So you want to see a girl group for Christmas, it looks like. Oh, MyuNgSIK even puts a pylon down here. He's going to overcharge that to clear this up, perhaps.
Yeah.
Well, it is going to be an Immortal, and the Immortal should be able to kill this pylon. The Adepts are already here. I don't think MyuNgSIK can use this pylon to overcharge to defend this.
I think that he probably should have considered making 2 pylons, but
yeah, well, the overcharge is active. A 2nd pylon does go down very well done here by Deer, and he's actually going to be able to shade through here. Adept versus Adept is always a funny fight.
Oh man, Shades chasing
It's
each other.
unpowered currently, and that is starting to become a problem because the 2nd pylon will finish here.
Okay, I mean, this is a little bit crazy. Haven't really seen exactly this happen yet in a game.
Well, I mean, it is one of the best ways to defend a proxy like this. It's what I've been like defending against Stargates when I see it, is because you can just do so much quick damage. It's costing him quite a bit just to produce this Immortal. Now, there is a Stalker up, but it's 4 Adepts versus 2 in a Stalker, so that is definitely a better fight for Deer currently.
Yeah, this definitely could do a lot of damage. If you can target down those Adepts very quickly, that's going to probably be the best way to do it. And without that Mothership core in here, the Adepts, like Stalkers, don't kill Adepts quick enough in this type of small numbers. So
yeah, they don't do a lot of damage to light units, so it's going to take them quite some time. And 4 kills here. The Immortal is finished.
that's a lot of kills, man.
Oh, the Immortal? Okay, he ran away. I thought he lost it for a second. That was really scary.
He's going to be careful with that. Like, wants to pick off the pylon, doesn't want the Mothership core to deal too much damage here. Has to warp in a couple Stalkers. That's kind of annoying.
He's also got a gateway here.
Wants those quick warp-ins, it looks like. This has been such a wonky game. Like, the thing is, we don't even know if he was going to go 100% right into that Immortal. Probably was, but
well, he doesn't have a pylon to power either of those anymore. He's going to cancel the gateway, may cancel the Immortal as well, even though it's so close to being finished.
Yeah. Well, I don't think he's going to break this at all. MyuNgSIK looks like he is completely fine at this point. And the game is, like, pretty even.
But Deer doesn't have a Nexus. That's the biggest concern. He has a tech advantage, but what can he do with that tech advantage when he has to walk home with it?
That's true, actually. I didn't realize that the Nexus was this far from being completed. That's a big deal.
He may want to just go ahead and try to rush a third Nexus and use his tech units to defend it. That might be his best bet here.
One of the saddest things is that he has to kill his own pylon to even get out of his base at this point. Like, nothing is really going Deer's way at the moment. Like, if those 4 Adepts hadn't killed so many probes, MyuNgSIK would be way further ahead. But as is, actually looking at it now with this Nexus still not done, really liking MyuNgSIK's position.
The Chrono, the constant Chrono as well, it's not even like Chrono from Heart of the Swarm or Wings is, you know, you have double that, so it means you have constantly double Chroned pro production or whatever you want to be Chroned. If you want to just make your Immortals faster for a second, you've got that too, while continuing pro production Chroned. And on Powers of Cybercore, not going to be too big of a deal, but again, like you said, annoying to have to kill your own pylon, means you have to replace it. And you know, I was saying maybe you should try to rush out of third base, but that's not really how PvP works. Like, it's too risky. PvP units are so strong versus each other. Like, even a Stalker does so much damage to a Stalker that if you have, like, 3 extra Stalkers, you can crush that fight. But
it looks like you hated on yourself a little bit too soon. Deer agrees with you. He's going to try for that quick third Nexus.
I'm not even saying that it's like that I take it back and saying it's wrong. It's just going to be difficult to deal with. Because he killed that Observer, or I guess it was maybe a Hallucination Scout, whatever it was, because he killed that and there's no Scout of this, I guess it's all he can really do. It's like it's his only choice at this point.
Yeah, he doesn't really have a whole lot to work with. But, you know, the one nice thing about PvP right now, just like Heart of the Swarm really helped PvP because of the Mothership Core with the Nexus Cannon, that is actually, I would say, even amplified in Legacy of the Void with the new Mothership Core, the way it works. Like, if you just throw down like 3 pylons, you can hold on versus a hell of a lot of units with whatever you have. And so it looks like both players are going to go ahead, take this third Nexus, get Blink, but again, you know, MyuNgSIK definitely has that edge still.
Yeah, I have to agree with you about the overcharge. You can even, like, if you really are quick on it, you can even, like, snipe an Oracle before it can escape, whereas you could not do that with just a Nexus Cannon before because it wouldn't kill it fast enough for it to escape.
Yeah.
These Mortals can kill a lot of probes because they two-shot them, and while he draws him back, he's going to hit that third base with Stalkers.
This is great, and the fact that there's no Blink out really helps out. Look at that, he's going to snipe this pylon as well. And you're right, those Stalkers going up into the natural. MyuNgSIK looking fantastic right now. Going to be able to pick at least one off very quickly.
Yep. And actually, these pylons will help protect this base, but he's killed quite a few workers here. But this did not go as well for MyuNgSIK as I really thought it was going to. I thought he was going to be able to maybe even snipe that Nexus.
Yeah, it's I still like it. You know, it's cool that he didn't get to just kill Deer here with it. But the fact that he's killed 3 more probes, he's caused lost mining time, he got a pylon as well. He forced the army to run around. He got more intel about what types of units Deer has. I think MyuNgSIK is playing. I'm getting like so many chills today. Like, I just want to go home and play more Legacy, but I also want to stay here and watch these games and cast. I wish this was like the Matrix and I could just plug myself in and just like get to see, like, understand everything that happened in all these games.
You want to be in their brains and see them think about what they're doing?
Yes, so badly.
Well, luckily for you, there is a way for you to compromise here. You can just simply cast all these games and then go home and play.
That never happens. So have you ever played StarCraft after casting?
Like, maybe like one out of 1,000 days of casting?
Yeah, that's about right, yeah. People ask that sometimes. No, we don't go home and play. We're
tired. This is a big push here, and almost double the army supply currently for MyuNgSIK, but the position obviously on the high ground with these force fields is better for Deer, but the force fields not being used against him.
Yeah, he's got some Immortals in here and stuff, but those force fields really helping out. He does use that pylon overcharge, but this doesn't look like he should be able to hold here, I would say.
I think this is going to be the end of it. The Immortals using their barrier here to finish the job. He's just got so many more Immortals. He had a better economy for too long.
Yeah.
And that is going to be it. GG.
Wow. Some really on-the-spot play here by MyuNgSIK. Finding the Robo, shutting down that, was absolutely key in this game.
That's the most important part of this entire game. Yeah. Also, Deer's response, I feel like, was not as... He should have committed a bit more to defending that with his Adepts. Because I think if he brings the Adepts over, he kills a pylon pretty quick, and say he tried to harass them. And initially, he got a few workers, then he ended up getting like 2 more. But I think if he kills those pylons faster, then he can get the Immortals up, and he has 2 Immortals, and then he can transition easier to a Nexus than what really happened there.
You might be right about that. It's, I guess if he gets stuck down the ramp and never gets any damage in there, it gets a little bit hard as well, but at least then he has the Robo to work with.
And he has a Warp Prism, you know, to shuttle his units into the base.
Yeah.
Because imagine if he has that one Immortal, even one Immortal and one Warp Prism versus that small Stalker count we saw fighting the Adepts, and the one Immortal gets in, he could do an insane amount of damage.
Absolutely, yeah, especially with the Warp Prism. Like, I mean, Stalkers before Blink do nothing against a Warp Prism Immortal. It just like ravages them, so worse than the Ravager even would.
Absolutely, Artes as well. Map 2 is going to be Orbital Shipyard. This map, you know, again, another 2-player map where you don't have to guess where your opponent is. You can scout early, you can get information early. I think we see a bit more oracles on this map than some of the other maps because your backdoor base is a bit exposed.
Yeah, and definitely one you can take a fast expansion on because of that back natural. A little bit shorter of a map as well. We'll have to see how this one ends up going.
That we will. It looks like the game is up and loaded. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go into game number 2 between these two Protoss players to find out who is going to face TY in the preseason finals.
All right, in the top right, looking great after defending that cheese, is MyuNgSIK.
And his opponent on the opposite side of the map in red, it's Deer. A good plan there, but one of the most important things, obviously, defending a build like that is scouting it, and he got scouted. That's why we see so few, you know, from Wings of Liberty was the time we saw the most proxies, and it just started to become less and less of a thing in Heart of the Swarm, especially when the Kesper Pros started to get to control the scene, you know, and be the top players. Then we almost never saw proxies, even in PvP, because besides Stargate, because Stargate is one of those proxies that even if it's scouted, like, you can still win with it.
Oh, yeah.
But it's like hiding Dark Shrines or Proxy 2 gates and stuff like that. You almost always get scouted, so because everyone is checking, everyone's so good at that it's almost fallen off.
Yeah, and it's quite right. Like, with this, even if he gets scouted with this one's too far away, which, in my mind, I think that this is probably going to be an Oracle. I've definitely seen on the ladder a lot of Protosses hide Oracle right there.
Yeah, I would have to agree.
It's like far enough off that it just won't get scouted. Not too early, at least. I mean, definitely we see that MyuNgSIK is scouting, but he's just going to find that full wall from Deer. Which, by the way, also I think is kind of cool. I'm liking the fact that Deer is doing the same type of build twice right in a row. It tells me that he thinks this is, like, unbelievably strong.
Yeah. And he needs to make sure that Probe stays alive. He gets scouted, though. Oh, no, that's his Probe leaving. I was like, for a second, I was like, oh, my God, another Probe saw that? Like, he's really checking. But, yeah, I mean, Adepts into this will really split up the attention between bases because there's no tight wall for MyuNgSIK, so the Adepts are going to bounce between bases, and whatever base is like the Oracle goes to will have Stalkers defending it, which means the Oracles, or rather the Adepts, can be the other base doing damage.
Yeah,
and this will get scouted actually after all. It looks like.
Does he try anything like a?
He doesn't have a Mothership Core though, right?
Oh, it just finished.
Okay.
Oh, he's going to send it right out.
I think he can stop this, and this time the Adepts definitely cannot come back. They're way too far away.
Yeah, we'll have to see how much damage he can actually get done with this. Okay, 2 Adepts up here. That helps to deal with it so much better. Adepts kill each other pretty quickly, since they are light units, of course. So
the Oracle will get out first, I think. Oh, the Probe was doing damage that whole time, though. It's going to be close.
Wow.
It's going to be really close. It's not going to get out. Oh, no, Deer.
Oh, dearie me.
Well, he can't even pile on it. Oh,
Deer
it
looks sad right now. He looks like Bunny was looking. This is tough, man. I mean, he's just sending in more Oracles.
I think he should just cancel the Oracle and move on.
I think you're right.
Because,
like,
I mean, even if this Oracle gets out, which he's spending so much money and effort to get it out, it will get out. And do what? Because by the time he gets there, it's not even going to get out.
You have to be kidding me on this. Like, the money he's put in this. Luckily, he is killing some probes.
5
Not
probes.
a lot.
He has no units now but a Mothership Core. That's all he's got. saddest target we've ever seen.
Yeah, this was brutal. Like, Deer is not used to this being countered in this way for sure, because he's done this strategy twice. This time he proxied so far away, I'm like, no. I mean, with how late he's going to scout, how far away it is, there's no way. But even with the second pylon, it doesn't end up working out.
No. This is kind of, you know, the thing is, I've done things like this to defend these builds before, but I thought it was probably like not the most efficient way, or I was like, well, this is kind of goofy, but you know, it's one of those things where I think Deer's really banking on this not getting scouted, and unfortunately for him, 2 games in a row, he's been scouted. Not to say his game is just straight up over, but he has a huge deficit as a result.
Yeah, MyuNgSIK is taking his 3rd base right now. He's got like way more probes. He's got a bigger army. Everything looks great for him. They're getting Blink at similar times. Deer's is a bit quicker, so there is the possibility of some sort of very fast attack with that, because he is getting a Robo, so he can get the Warp Prism for the Warpins.
And this Adept, I feel, is here to harass, but also primarily to scout.
Yeah.
He wants to see, like, how many gases do you have? Okay, you only have 2 gases, so I know that much.
And in fact, the Shade, I think, is basically, yeah, the Shade just got every piece of information.
He saw the Twilight Council being chronoed.
And he saw a Robo on the way, so he literally just knows everything. That's good.
And that was the funny thing, too, because he knew that Deer walled off. And so he sent the Shades up, watching for Deer to kill the pylon, so Deer had to even wait to kill the pylon before he could even move out of his base. His 3rd base is now so late.
Yeah, MyuNgSIK is really looking great here. I love this couple pylons at the front. You know, a couple overcharges on those allow for even lesser stalkers and Blink Stalker versus Blink Stalker to dominate.
Yeah, this is going to be all about the control of these stalkers. He needs to make sure he can kill that Immortal.
Where's the Mothership Core? It's like totally MIA.
Is it like over next to that pylon still?
I think it's coming from the main.
Yeah, there it is.
Be careful about that. Of course, as the Warp Prism's coming in, he's got to know that there just has to be a Warp Prism on the way. There is the possibility of warping in other places trying to poke the fun, but his army itself is big enough to beat these Blink Stalkers right now.
And he has now a 2nd Immortal nearly finished. He's going to have his own counter Blink, so in a second, when he has that 3rd base fully saturated, he will be able to outproduce in Stalkers and eventually just counter Blink on top of the army when it tries to blink away and seal the deal here. Deer needs to find another way rather than trying to crash here at the front.
Well,
this is one way to start chipping some damage, but he needs more.
Yeah, let's see.
This is what he needs.
This could be really good. Where is that Mothership Core?
I think it's right on the top of the ramp going into the main base. Oh, he's got 4 Stalkers here, too.
That was a nice move. That was a really nice blink in, leaving 4 Stalkers there. Really good army split here by MyuNgSIK, realizing exactly what he needs in each location.
I think MyuNgSIK is basically realizing at the bare bones of this, if I survive, I win. So I just need to make sure I have enough units in every location.
Yeah, I think you're pretty much right about that. But let's not forget that there's a cool unit in PvP called the Disruptor. And Disruptors can change games on their head.
It doesn't matter how the mid-game.
It definitely can do that and more. The unit is kind of crazy, Wolf. I know that you play Protoss, so...
Yeah, I mean, I've been enjoying a lot of PvP with it. It's definitely changed the way battles occur. It's no longer a Colossus stalemate. Or an Archon Immortal Charged Zealot Ball.
Yeah.
And kill a Robo here. MyuNgSIK is definitely going to take some damage from this harass.
Yeah, this is pretty nice, actually. Look at that. He gets the Observer. That's a great pickoff after killing a Robo.
Yeah.
Blinks down. I mean, this is some good moves. And, yeah, he has to remake the Robo, which means we have Disruptors only making for Deer right now.
Yeah, I'm not even sure if MyuNgSIK, because he was so focused on the defense, I'm not even sure if he made a Bay. So he's going to have to get the Robo up and then get a Bay then get the Disruptor. I don't think he even has a Bay.
Are you right? He doesn't have a Bay?
I don't think he has a Bay.
Huh.
I never saw it making for him, only for Deer.
That definitely changes things as well, because the Disruptor is a super powerful unit, but he's moving across the map. He might have decided that he can kill right now. Did you lose all game audio?
I did.
Okay.
So, well, you know, okay, there it is.
Did you gain it all back?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Now Deer has a Disruptor to defend.
Yeah. Now
his Stalkers can blink, though.
Oh, and
it's
he gets a couple sentries. That's pretty decent, but this is scary. Where's his Mothership Core? He needs a lot of cannons.
He needs that next overcharge as well. He needs to, or rather, that next Disruptor shot. He needs to keep that Disruptor alive. It's his key to survival.
It really is, and it's in the front still. He's not microing it well at all. He's got to pull it back. It does end up going down another. Oh my God!
Another Disruptor comes out, but its shot doesn't hit much, and that Time Warp is pretty useless. Okay, we got that music back somehow. All right, everything. Ignore the shadow on the screen, but Deer, I think he's just going to die here. He did not get the shots he needed.
Yeah, you could be right about that. Like, he messed up with that disruptor micro a little bit. It's kind of a difficult unit to control.
It's
in
like
these
a
situations.
Dragoon. Like
You have to keep it in the back for sure. Okay, that was a pretty good disruptor shot, but if he had another disruptor here, it would look a lot different. In fact, I think he's lost 2, so...
Yep, this is going to be his 3rd one that he loses. The Zealots are on top of it, and that's going to be potentially a game here. It's not 2 base to 3, although there's no mining going on at the 3rd from MyuNgSIK. I think he just camps the production and wins this, though. I mean, I think it's a done deal here.
Yeah, it looks like it. GG. Okay, so that was actually quite a nice game. Like, the fact that the Oracle shenanigans went that poorly, Deer actually fought back and was in a pretty good spot. He really did some nice poking with his stalkers, the blinking to kill the Robo and everything. Yeah, MyuNgSIK killed him with the counterattack, but I think Deer showed a hell of a lot of skill that game, and I'm not even calling this series over, even though it's 2-0 MyuNgSIK.
Yeah. I was talking about that disruptor moment. It's different than Micro than the Colossus, you know? When you have one Colossus, it's a higher impact than having one disruptor. You have 2 disruptors, I feel like we're talking about sort of the same thing, because the disruptor can only fire and it has a long cooldown period. If you have 2 disruptors, then you can alternate shots and constantly putting pressure on the army. If you have a Colossus, one of the strengths of the Colossus is that when you micro it back, you can walk on top of units. The disruptor cannot do that. So he had to maybe like blink 2 stalkers away so that the disruptor could get back, because it was bumping into the stalkers and unable to move there.
It's actually pretty hard to use in little battles like that, and like a lot of PvPs right now that I've seen at least are revolving around like trying to kill one guy, trying to kill the other before the critical mass of disruptors. Because if it's like one, you're like, okay, yeah, I can dodge 1 shot. But as you said, you blink out of the way of one. The second one is going to shoot if you come forward before your blink cooldown is done, and by the time you get through that rigmarole, the other guy is ready again. So it becomes much harder to break at that point.
Yeah, you always want to have them like synced up to where one can always be firing, and that's why one is not as big of an impact as a Colossus. The Colossus is going to do guaranteed damage.
Step on force fields.
Step on force fields. It can walk back when you're defending. So if someone targets it, that's almost a mistake because you walk back and all that fire is wasted, and your stalkers get out of position. I'm not saying you should have had a Colossus there. I'm just saying it's not like one disruptor equals 1 stalker when it one Colossus when it comes to that kind of defense. If you have 2, though, I think it gets a little bit easier. And he couldn't save the 1, and then he was always at just like 1 disruptor until finally he got that second one out, but it was too late.
Yeah. Nice game, though. I really like the comeback from Deer with how far ahead MyuNgSIK got early on. So I think even MyuNgSIK has to look at it and be like, okay, I have to keep on scouting for proxies, and I should be able to win. But he really started to come back. And, you know, if like, for instance, if the Oracle had only finished, not even killed a pro, but just even finished, maybe that game goes to Deer.
Yeah.
Like, just the additional scouting intel, keeping MyuNgSIK a little bit more honest with his play, forcing the Nexus cannons all over the place while he goes into blink. Like, Deer actually, in many ways,
outplayed MyuNgSIK,
yeah.
I have to
in
agree.
that game, at least.
And I think that, you know, if I'm Deer in this case, after watching that game, or if I'm Deer's coach, I'm like, well, why don't you just, I mean, if you really want to do Oracles, why don't you just make a Stargate in your main, you know? You could probably still find damage.
Seriously.
Cryon Terrace is going to be our map.
Okay, well.
It's a very gas-dependent matchup, this one, so not going to be, like, too crazy because of gold bases. You get some extra Zealot weapons, though.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we're going to see anyone take gold base too quickly, but here we go, guys. Right. Up 2-0. Our Protoss player in the top left from TCM Gaming. It is MyuNgSIK.
And his opponent in red for Samsung Galaxy Con, it is Deer.
Is Deer not going to wall in his ramp?
Yes.
Yeah. It's, well, that build specifically, I would say, is designed with the wall on the ramp for maps where you can expand with the wall up.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, for a lot of reasons, that's really good. You don't have to worry about adepts, for instance.
Yeah, exactly. That's the key. No adepts getting in. No probe scouts getting it either. Oh, he is going to do that, MyuNgSIK.
Yeah.
It's MyuNgSIK after all, so he'll find a way to make this more viable.
Yeah, this is interesting. The fact that he's going for the gold right out there, right off the bat.
He will have to do, I feel, an aggressive build following this. Like he's going to have to go into Blink Stalkers, I'd say, from this. He's not going to hold onto this base with the depths on the defense. He can't harass. He has to use a unit comp that can both pressure and defend, like Blink Stalkers.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind Twilight Tech. Like, if I was going to do this, I would definitely consider the Twilight Tech. Maybe even rush directly to DTs.
Yeah, I mean,
and then back up into Blink or something like that.
I think Stargate is okay as well, but I feel like trying to hold on to this one with like mostly a depth composition is going to be tough.
Yeah. Let's see. He has 1 on the way against 2 of his opponents. Gonna add more gates, of course. That gold base, I don't know if it's really going to be mining that much. He is at least getting the Mothership core up, but he needs a pylon there to be able to activate such a thing.
All right, it looks like Korean commentators are thinking he might actually pylon this aggressively. Deer, that is, but it's not going to do it, at least not yet at this point.
Yeah, well, we have 2 more Adepts on the way for Deer right now. It just seems like, you know, he's going to have such a unit advantage, and there's no pylon at that Nexus, so we're going to have to see more tech out of MyuNgSIK. He has his second Gateway finishing, and that's all we can say about him.
Yeah. Here come those first few Adepts, and they're going to easily deny mining at this base until that pylon is done. And by that point, he's going to just shade into the main.
Yeah. Probably should cancel that shade.
Yeah, I think so. Looks like he did.
Okay, never tries to pylon or anything like that, so just continually sending Adepts up.
He's going to take his own base, but interestingly, does not take his own gold. Just takes a normal base. He's going to keep putting the pressure on.
And he made a couple sentries, which is kind of interesting as well.
Yeah, it looks like he values the safety over the golden minerals.
Yeah, I do wonder why he gets that. He's obviously got to save up energy. Oh my god, we actually have these 2 Adepts getting here, killing quite a few probes at the gold base. It's a big chunk of his economy right now.
It's like Deer, okay, I understand now, because Deer is going to trade Adepts for workers, and because that leaves him vulnerable because he doesn't have an army to defend as easily, he wants to have the bases on the high ground rather than the gold base. Makes a little bit of sense.
No, that does make sense.
If he's going to trade them and just lose them to kill probes, makes more sense that way. Oh, will this one shade away?
Yeah, because when you're trading units for economy, your opponent still has units and thus can harass you much more easily. So it's a good call there. And probe count is actually even at this point.
Yeah, and if you look at the resource income tab, like the little income below the stats to the top right, you can see there is a significant mineral income lead currently for MyuNgSIK, but let's keep an eye on that, because obviously that base will mine out faster.
Yeah, that is definitely a fact. We have MyuNgSIK. All right, let's see. Gonna go up here and at least prod a little bit. I don't think he's ever gonna let a shade finish, but at least scouting what his opponent has. We do have that Immortal on the way, and he has those 2 sentries, don't forget. The sentries are actually, like, they gained power in, like, the early mid-game of PvP because Colossus don't get made anymore.
Yeah.
Obviously, they blow up pretty quickly when a Destructor Shock comes. But, yeah, they kind of have a little bit more power of pushing back Immortals and stuff like that. So those are going to come in and be very handy for Deer, no doubt.
Yeah. It's really funny that, the more I think about it, it's crazy that the Adept Shade gives vision, because it's basically like a fast-producing robo that's right outside your base. Like, it makes an observer, sends in, then it just makes another one. Like, there's no... Without a tight wall, you can't deny the scout. There's nothing you can do about it. It's going to see what you're doing.
Yeah, it's such a cool unit. It's so well designed, to be honest. I really enjoy what it does.
Yeah, it doesn't change the way that PvP works, like over Heart of the Swarm, because in Heart of the Swarm, they would just send Phoenixes in, which would do the same thing. You can't deny those really either, but...
Yeah. I mean, it can do some damage, I guess, but, yeah, it's on everyone's radar.
It doesn't cost you sentry energy, which is why we see so many more force fields available, and like you said, you were talking about how sentries are much more viable because of the lack of Colossi.
And look at that. He actually dodged away from that Phoenix. I'm not sure if he saw that. So right now, MyuNgSIK, he has 4 gates finishing. He has Blink on the way.
He needs those gates to be warp gates. This is going to be a tough push to hold. He absolutely can do it. He's got only 1 pylon really in range to help protect this army.
Yeah, very late there. Oh, already the shields procced there for for the Immortal.
Yep.
Definitely an important moment.
Way too early on that barrier, and this force field zones out both Immortals, unable to help. And this means he can actually pick off the Sentry for free, a few of these Stalkers, and it's just going to catch this pylon, maybe even before these units finish.
Look at this. These Sentries doing such a great job of really zoning everything out from where he wants it. Has to get out of the range there, though, of that cannon.
Yeah, it's a well-placed pylon. It's tough to actually focus that down. And we're running low on Sentry energy here, but he's traded so well already that I think he can actually maybe just push in here and continue the fight.
Yeah, the army right now of Deer is really superior. These Immortals are pretty good, but, well, they're taking a lot of damage now. He's going to go ahead and target that one down. Another Immortal did just pop out, and that's important. The Immortal on the left here, though, not able to shoot what it wants, actually hitting the depths.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Pylon overcharge on the right side, still doing damage. Another barrier gets popped here for Deer, and he's continuing to push. I think eventually he will push through. A few more Stalkers get warped in here, but the Immortal on the left side is safe, doing so much extra damage. And there he goes, actually, right when it's most vulnerable, he pops that barrier and even gets into the Warp Prism.
Really good micro there by Deer. Great placement on this Warp Prism. There is Blink from MyuNgSIK, but that doesn't really matter that much right now. He's got to somehow fight this all back. But the two Immortals dealing lots of damage right now to these Stalkers.
Yeah. Two Immortals out here from MyuNgSIK can really save him right now. But I think at this point, the push is over. He's going to try to harass a little bit, but if you look at the workers, 40 to 31. But even with that fact, he needs to transfer more workers down to that gold base as he's doing now, because if you look at the income, it's still double. Deer has double what MyuNgSIK has.
That's a pretty big deal. But as these guys do start to mine those gold minerals, it'll help. But as you were saying before, Wolf, he's going to run out of mineral patches there really, really quickly. He's been mining from the gold for a long time, so he's going to need either another Nexus or a killing move.
Legacy is such a cool game.
Dude,
man.
it's so much better. I can't even believe he held that. That's like insane that he held that. Deer had 20 army supply on him at one point during that battle. He had like 2 or 3 Immortals against like 1 or... I mean, I don't know. Everything about that was a little bit crazy, but a great hold by MyuNgSIK.
This just gives me like kind of Brood War-esque feels of how pressure works, and how Defenders of ENG works, and you know, you really can't warp in as quickly unless you have that Warp Prism there. It's just a very different game.
Everything about it is just really, really superb. Something I want to mention about Legacy of the Void and Protoss players, like, I feel like people could do with one more pylon in front of a base. Like there we saw one, and then you try to make 2 as Deer was moving up the map, but pylons don't build that quickly.
Yeah.
And like pylons only cost 100 minerals. Some of these battles that we've seen with Protoss and whatnot in multiple matchups have